Happy Tuesday, everybody. I'm Lisa Kipps-Brown, your host for Disrupt Your Now, along with my wonderful co-host, Rachel Garrett Mercer.
Hey.
And we have Ms. Anita Clinton with us tonight from Anita Clinton Enterprises. Y'all are going to love her story. The other week, Tab Pierce, he had the Refiners Conference, and I saw AC on that, and I just loved her story and immediately was like, oh, will you come and do my show? So here she is to talk to y'all. AC, I want you to introduce yourself and give them a bit about your background.
Hi, everyone. As Lisa said, I'm Anita A.C. Clinton. And, my background starts as a kid. At the age of 10, I stood over 6 feet wearing a size 11 shoe.
Wow.
And my favorite teacher was my math teacher, and she was also the girls' basketball coach. And so one day as I'm leaving out of class, she invites me to come try out for the girls' basketball team. And so I go to try out, and, who knew? I was a natural.
Yeah.
And I started playing basketball. She helped me perfect my skills. So the fundamentals of the game she taught me, but there was some natural talent incorporated in that as well. And I ended up getting a full scholarship to the University of Illinois. I got to play USA basketball in Taipei, Taiwan.
Oh my
and
God.
my hopes, dreams, and desires was to play on a professional level. I mean, that's what I wanted to do. And my junior year at our second Big Ten conference game, I injured my knee. I literally ripped everything in the knee to shreds.
Oh my God.
And I knew immediately that my dreams, my hopes, my aspirations of playing professionally had just died, right?
Yeah.
It just died with that injury. And because basketball was my life, it was my everything. My entire persona, my entire identity was wrapped inside the sport. And so once that was no longer an option for me, I had no clue who I was and what I was going to do in the world. And so with that, I decided that my life was no longer worth living. And I began to take all the pills that had been prescribed to me after my knee surgery. And I laid down, said a small apologetic prayer, and my intent was never to wake up again. However, about 4 hours later, I woke up, every pill came back up, and I get to the hospital and I hear the doctor say, it's truly a miracle that she's still alive. And from that point, my question became, why am I still here? I wanted to know, why was I saved? Unlike most people today, I was asking the question, what's my purpose?
Yeah.
Why am I here? What's the reason for my existence? And so from there, I embarked on this 20-year journey of discovery. In the steps that I've gone through to figure out what my purpose is, I now help other people go through those steps. Well, a shorter version of those steps to figure out what their purpose is.
I want y'all to know I'm not ignoring AC. I'm trying to share with her the link to this video. I know it looks like I'm like messaging people and stuff. So that's why I look like I'm not paying attention. But I'm sending it right now, AC.
Okay.
I want to tell you, I don't know, I don't think I've ever told you this. Your story really struck me. I mean, partly because it's just such a great story and, inspiring, but also because my grandfather did kill himself when I was 5, and my grandmother tried to 3 years later. So I love the fact, number one, that it didn't work for you. And number two, that you woke up and heard that doctor say that and realized that your life was supposed to be more instead of just kind of existing after that.
Yeah, so what's interesting is I had my mind set on playing professional basketball.
Yeah.
And I hadn't even considered what other possibilities would be. And at that time, I didn't even think that there were other possibilities, and the fact that I wake up after taking all of this medication that should have taken me out, it's like, okay, for real, like I'm here for a reason. There has to be a reason. This is not an accident, right? There has to be a reason that I'm still here. And so now it's, what's that reason, right? And I think a lot of people today, especially when we look at what's happened because of COVID-19, people feel like the rug has been pulled from underneath them. And it's like, okay, what's next, right? What's next is what you were created to do. What are you here to do? Because we all have something that we have been created, we've been prepared, we are skilled and talented to do whatever that thing may be. And the world needs it. Like, our world needs all of what we all have to offer.
Yeah. I have chill bumps.
I'm like on the verge of tears. Just hearing you talk, I'm just like soaking it up, and we're not even like 5 minutes into this, and I'm just like, yes. It's really.
And Rachel has had to a couple of times change her path because of things that's happened. I don't know if you want to talk about it, Rachel, but go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, I was just going to share. I mean, not, of course, anything like injury wise, but 3 years ago, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, and that rocked my world. I mean, to the point where it was kind of not me taking the pills to end my life, but it was me truly, like, I remember like a specific spot, like getting that diagnosis in my driveway. I just remember laying there and literally just being like, what now? Like, what, and how that's shaped not only my personal life, but my professional life. I was in theater, and I had left that because of all the symptoms from what I didn't have diagnosed at the time. Moved into finance thinking, okay, like this is going to be the thing that's going to be, what I do forever. And then really having more health struggles on top of that really made me evaluate, like, what are my priorities and what the heck do I really want to do and what is going to fuel me to help others. So just so much of your story, I'm just like, I love it so much. And hearing you talk about that, because I think we do all have those feelings, whether it's illness or whatever in your life, we have those moments where we're like, I mean, truly, like, they'll knock you down and you're like, literally, what now? Like, truly now. And then what do you do if you don't have someone to partner with you, and how do you get out of that place? I mean, that's really powerful to find someone. Yeah.
I would agree. And I think you said something else that's really key, and that is, what can I do to help others? Because the thing that we've been put on this earth to do, like, it has very little to do with us individually, but it's for the benefit of other people in the world. Just think about this. Can you imagine what our world would look like if 50% of the population would step into the thing that they've been created to do? Ooh. Like, how would that transform the experience that we all have in the world?
Yeah.
I feel like they can. I'm sorry, Lisa. I'm like jumping in.
No, go ahead.
Empowered to actually do that. You know what I mean? Like, so many people are so reserved, and like, how do you help people get out of their heads, and how do you help people discover and uncover these things that, you know what I mean, just step into these roles? Like, what do you help them with?
Yeah, so one, it starts with mindset, right? So you gotta shift. Like, I have a client that I'm working with right now, and so she is a senior citizen, and like, she's called to work with people that are dying, right? Like, who knew? I'm like everything is covered for real. But she's passionate about it. And one of the things that she has always said from the very beginning when we started working together was, like, she didn't believe that she could make a lot of money. She didn't believe that good things could happen in her life. She comes from an Irish background, and so her family was extremely poor growing up, and they struggled, and she struggled pretty much all of her life. But then she meets me, and we were talking earlier today, and she was like, my mindset, my thought processes are starting to shift. And not only are they starting to shift, but now she has clients. She has money that's coming in. She got a check today. She was like, I got a check from Loyola University, and I don't even know what this check is for. I was like, yep, just sign your name on it and deposit it into your bank account.
I love it.
But it starts with mindset.
And so you said she's helping elderly people or people who have fatal illnesses?
Yeah, so people that have been terminally diagnosed, help them kind of get their life in order, right? So get things in order as they get ready to transition out. But essentially how she describes it is, she helps them do the things that they've always wanted to do before they leave the earth.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So it's pretty awesome. But then she also does spiritual direction. So and so I went through her spiritual direction program, and it's pretty amazing. If you're interested in that, but she does the two of those. And the interesting thing is, the two of them are similar, but they're so very different.
Yeah. Well, we need to go check it out. Tell us tell us all where we can go check it out.
Yeah, it's in theeveningoflife.com. In the evening of life. Yeah, even I love the name, right? Like, in the evening of life, right?
I cared for my father-in-law for the last 7 years of his life with Alzheimer's, and then for my mother for the last 4.5 years of her life. And I look at it as it's like you have been blessed to be able to help this person transition into the next. It really is. I mean, it is. I just look at it as a blessing that it's something that to have the privilege to be able to help somebody. But it takes a special type of person to be able to do that all the time. I wouldn't be able to do that all the time. So how do you help people? Or let me ask you this, how did you figure out what your purpose was?
Yeah, so the next step would be discovery, right? And so inside of discovery, I think that if you could figure out what you're passionate about, figure out the thing that you have a skill or talent to do, whether that is a natural skill, and I think that we all have been born with natural talent, but then we also have skills that we have acquired and perfected over time. So in the work that we've done, in the volunteer work that we've done, if we've had an opportunity to perfect those things, then now they become part of what I call our genius box. And so all of the things that you're gifted, talented, skilled to do goes into this genius box. And then from there, passion plus genius, then how does those two benefit other people? When you can find that sweet spot where the three of them connect, now you're closer to knowing what it is that you're created to do. And another key variable is, what's the thing in the world, the problem, the pain, the challenge that irks you, right? It just bothers the heck out of you. Most of the time, that thing is the thing that you are the answer to.
Huh.
That is great.
Yeah, we really need to think about that, Rachel.
Yeah. So are you like a list maker? Like when you're working through this with people, is it, just like helping them think through things? Or are you like make a list and, you know what I mean? Like, is it like a virtual, like put it in a box kind of thing? Or how does that process work with you?
Yep. So we go through all of their passions, right? So independent of what it is, nothing about it, nothing around it, just give me the list of passions.
Love it.
And then from those passions, we say, okay, what skills, talent, gift do you have to be successful with that passion, right? And then once we connect that, then we start thinking about, how does this serve other people? And so I use this example all the time, which I love it. So singing, right? So someone who is passionate about singing, the next question becomes, can you sing? Like, can you actually have talent to do? And then how does that impact other people? Because at the end of the day, I believe the thing that we are purposed to do is about making life better for other people. Yeah. And it could be other beings, right? So there are people who are called to, whose purpose to work with bees, right? So other living beings. So it doesn't have to be human beings.
Right.
Absolutely.
Anything that helps somebody besides yourself.
Absolutely.
So that we're not all self-centered. I tell my clients all the time, you are the only you in the entire world. Your life set of experiences and everything that you've learned and know how to do and your natural talents and everything, there's nobody who can replace you.
That's true.
So you owe it to the rest of us to step up and figure it out and, and follow your passions and dreams. But you say it much more eloquently than I do.
I love it. So let me give you another example. So we talk about the thing that irks you, right? So years ago, I lived in Chicago. I grew up in Chicago, born and raised in Chicago. And I'm driving down. So I'm a little impatient. And so during rush hour traffic, I'll typically get off and take the side streets. Well, I had gotten to the point where I know the traffic starts to pick up. And so I was coming down Cicero Avenue in Chicago. And Cicero is one of the worst streets on the west side of Chicago, okay? So I'm trying to get off this street. And I'm behind this 18-wheeler. And all of a sudden, the 18-wheeler starts to slow down. So he starts braking. And so I'm kind of looking around. I'm like, there's nothing in front of him. What is he doing? And so he eventually starts to pull over. And, I'm a little upset by now. And so I'm driving past and I'm looking at him. But then I look in the rearview mirror and I see what had caught his attention was a lady walking down the street. And so this lady was a prostitute. And so I'm a little nosy at this point, but it touched me. So I pull over. So I pull over probably about a half a block away. And I'm looking in the mirror as this lady is walking up to his truck. And the look on her face, like if you could just see the look, it was just a look of like she wasn't happy. It's very clear she wasn't happy. She gets to the truck and I kind of imagine what the conversation was, and she gets into the truck. in that moment, like for me, the tears start streaming down my eyes because I call her Trina. I want to run to Trina and say, Trina, there is something on this earth that you are called to do, and this isn't it. I don't believe anybody was purposed to be a prostitute. I just don't believe it. Will never believe it. And so at that point, I had nothing to offer Trina. You know, I could give her a couple dollars, but how long was that going to last her? And from that point, I was like, okay, I got to figure out how can I help women and men like Trina who are working jobs that they absolutely hate, that they don't enjoy, that they're not passionate about. What can I do to help them figure out what it is that they're purposed to do, create a plan of action, and begin to do it? So Trina, for me, was the thing that was irking me. And it forced me to create Be Great Global.
Wow. That is really, when you first said that you saw a woman, I was imagining like a little old woman crossing the street. Really sweet and pulling over to help her. I wasn't even thinking, you know, that like, oh man. By the way, my son lives in Chicago. He loves it.
Yeah, I loved it too. And I think I'm going back. I'm either going there or to Canada. So I'm still trying to figure it out. I don't even know why Canada. So it's so funny. A couple years ago, I said, I'm going to move to Canada. And like, it just kind of stuck with me. I was like, I think I may be speaking that into existence.
Is there a certain area that you're interested in?
I've never been.
Oh, okay.
So the plan was to go visit this summer. But because of COVID, that may not happen. So as soon as COVID has been eliminated or reduced or whatever the next level is, I do want to go visit. And I actually have a friend who is from Canada. And so she's willing to kind of take me around.
Oh, cool.
So,
what area? East or West Coast?
So kind of the Midwest, so straight up from Michigan.
Oh, nice. That's cool. Well, I have a really
Vancouver.
I have a really good friend in Vancouver. So if you go, I'll hook y'all up to meet because you should meet him anyway. He founded Fundraiser, the crowdfunding platform. Great. Really? So y'all should meet anyway. He'd be great.
You have some really amazing friends.
I know, just like people. But I only meet them because I like to talk and I like to get to know people.
That's awesome.
So Rachel, what do you have that you want to ask her now?
Yeah, I just was thinking as you were talking through that story about people that feel stuck. So it's really hard for you to look at your own life, I think, and see a way out sometimes. And I think we've all been there in some way, shape, or form, like seeing that way out and coming, into a place where you're accepting that there is something different. Is there pushback as you're working through people? You know what I mean? How is that as you're uncovering these things? I'm assuming it's not just smooth sailing. Here's your passion, go. You know what I mean? We're not built like that. So how does that, or what techniques, I guess is my question, do you use to really help people say, okay, I recognize this in myself. I recognize that there is a way out. Now what? How does that work with you?
Yeah, so there's always pushback, right? So there's always going to be pushback because at the end of the day, for most people, the thing that you are purposed to do is so much bigger than you, right? Yeah. And so you can't even imagine that, what? I can do that? And so we start small. Right. So we just start taking little small steps and we test out things. Right. So if you got a list of 15 passions and you have 8 of them that you have a gift and talent to do, we just start checking them off. So let's just start something small. So whether that's you start doing a Facebook Live, having conversations with people, or maybe there's a product or a service that you want to offer. Let's just get out there. Let's just test it out and see what you really like, because there are things that I have done that I've been talented and gifted to do it, but I didn't enjoy it once I got into it, right? So I was excited about it in the beginning, like, woohoo! And then you get into it, like, oh, no, this is not the one.
Yeah, that's right.
And so we kind of go through that process, but all along, like that mindset piece is important. And so we do affirmations. So I have them write a affirmation of all positive words, and it's I am this, I am that. And the more that you say it, the more you start to believe it. And then it actually, in most instances, my experience has been that it becomes reality. Like I believe we create our reality.
I do
right?
too.
Yeah, we play a huge role in it, independent of what's happening. We can't control what happens to us, but we can always control how we respond to what happens to us, right? Which entail factors into the reality that we create in the world.
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's like the book. I can't think of the name of it, nor can I think of the author because I'm a numbskull. But basically, that the one thing that humans have left after everything else is taken away is still the ability to have our own attitude towards something.
Yeah.
To choose how we're going to respond.
Lisa, we got a great question.
Yeah. So this is our friend Amy.
Hey, Amy.
Amy is a veteran. She's a really good friend of mine. She lives out in Washington State. She calls herself a volunteeraholic because this woman volunteers all the time. She's awesome. So she wants to know what happens when you're really good in an area you don't like, but you find yourself there over and over.
Yeah. So sometimes that's just the result of being comfortable, right? So you found something that you can do, right? And you're comfortable doing it, which is how you end up over and over again. But what could happen? What could happen if you ventured out and tried something else? Let's just see what can happen. Something else that you are gifted and talented to do, but you're also passionate about. It doesn't mean stop doing what you're doing immediately, but test out something else in the process of while you're doing what you're doing immediately.
And I think there's a really cool thing, a piece of that sometimes where you can take those skills and then there's like this off the wall idea that somehow comes to you. At least that's happened to me in my life where I feel like I've been in this situation where I'm like, I can do this thing. I need the money. I got to do this thing. We all kind of get in that aspect of things too. But sometimes there's skills that you really like don't think about being transferable into whatever that next thing is. So I like the whole like getting uncomfortable or like getting out of what you're doing and thinking about what those skills are too that could potentially, translate into something else. I think that would be really interesting. Yeah.
And maybe it's just time to transition to the next level of whatever that thing is, right? So maybe she's reached the plateau and it's time for her to step up into the next level, which is going to take some faith. It's going to take some bravery, right? Some courageousness. You're going to need all of that to step up into the next level because you've gotten what you need to have gotten at this level.
Yeah.
Right, Amy, so what's next?
Amy, if you want to ask anything else, feel free. If you want to follow up, feel free if you have anything else. But yeah, I know Amy and the things that she does are amazing. She has a job, but she does all this volunteer work and her heart is in helping people. And she's just a really amazing person. So, and a veteran on top of that. So she was already had the heart of a servant to do that.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Which is amazing. Yes.
Yeah.
I say, Amy, think next level. Like, how can you take this thing to the next level?
I love that.
Yeah.
How many people are you like working with at a time? This seems like this would be a lot of work on you as well, to be on and invested in helping people really like, these are big things for people's lives. Are you taking on a lot of clients or are you kind of in a comfortable place now where you kind of have like a nice flow for your like sanity too?
So I take breaks, right? So I'll do groups typically at a time, a couple of one-on-one clients, but I take breaks. So like right now, so another gift talent that I have is graphic design, right? Okay. I love it. And so I found another way, right? A next level way for me to do graphic design as to do it one-on-one, which is creating templates for realtors, entrepreneurs.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Cool. And so I still get the opportunity to be creative, right? However, I don't have revisions. Right? Because I create the template and I put it out there. Whoever purchase it. Here's the instructions on how to use it. You do what you've done. I've done my part and now it's up to you.
That's a great idea. You don't have the person go and make the logo bigger.
Right. You can do it yourself. Make it as big or as small as you want it.
No, really.
But it still allows me the opportunity because I do love that creative side of it, right? And I'm not working per hour. It's literally, I create it with whatever time it takes me to create it. And now I release it and anybody that wants to purchase it and use it now has the ability to use it. And so I've stepped away from consulting type clients for a minute just to get that piece launched and to get it out there. But I have the pleasure of doing it, right? Because I need change in my life. Like I get really bored really quick, right? So I need to kind of do something else and then I can kind of circle back to that over there and then come back and do something else.
Yeah, that gives you a break, and
Yes.
it's something that's fulfilling, but at the same time, it's helping other people and it's helping you too. If it sells, it's helping you because you get a break, but it also helps because if somebody buys it, that gives you some unexpected money, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's money that I'm making without doing anything else.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? There's nothing like that.
that's for
It's money while
sure.
I'm sleeping, while I'm doing whatever else I'm doing. It's money that I'm making. So
Yeah.
but I've used my gift and talent in a different way, right? So kind of what Rachel was talking about. I've taken it to another level in a
And
different way.
And I think that most people, we are so close to what we do that we go, I don't even know any other way I could use it.
Yeah.
Don't you think that's true?
It is true. It is true. And that's how working with somebody like me, because like my mind is like it never cuts off. Like even when I get ready to go to bed, like I literally go to sleep with the television on or music playing or something, because I need something to kind of overshadow the thinking that's going on up here, right?
I am the same way. I have a hard time closing the laptop. I have a really hard time with that, and I'm really working on that. But for me, it's the same way. I'm like, where's my list, or where's my? I constantly see like there's something to be done. So my thing for myself is finding moments to rest, because I do tend to just go. What's the next idea? What's the next thing? That's a hard thing. I don't know.
It is. Well, and I'll come up with ideas while I'm sleeping, and I'll wake up and I'll have this idea, and I'm like, I get all excited, and I want to get up and go start researching it then. So I have to train myself. No, don't get up and start doing it, but write down what it is, because otherwise I'll forget. But I have had some of my best ideas. The two places that I get the best ideas are when I'm sleeping or when I'm mowing the grass.
That is hilarious. So I get ideas when I'm sleeping too. So I keep a notepad. I literally wrote a song in my sleep that I woke up and wrote the lyrics down. Now, I've done nothing with it, but I literally wrote it in my sleep. Like it was amazing. I was like, what is happening? I'm not a songwriter. Where did that come from? But I have a song literally that I wrote in my sleep.
Oh man. Yeah, now you just find somebody to partner with to write the music for it. Or you
I can't sing at all. I'm like your husband.
And you don't play any instruments either. Man.
I don't, but look at these fingers, right? These are piano fingers. So at some point in my life, I want to learn how to play the keyboard or the piano, right?
My father owned a music store, and because he was blind, his sense of hearing was so acute, and he went from New York to Atlanta. We live in Virginia, a very small town. People hired him, and this was in the 60s. 70s, to go from New York to Atlanta to tune their piano, because they swore that nobody could do it like him. Now, I was in high school band and I took piano, but I'm one of these people, I wouldn't practice. And I was really good in band. But that's kind of more social. I would not practice the piano. And it's funny because my personality, whenever there's something that I think I have to do, my whole personality just balks. It's like a mule digging in, and it's like, no, even if it's something I want to do, I'm like, that sounds like a mental illness to me. Seriously, I'll be sitting there, I'll be like, I really want to do this. This one half of my brain, and the other half is like, hell no, you're not going to do it, because it's so weird. But anyway, so
take the 4 tendencies test. I'm telling you, you are a rebel. But she explains it, right? Why you do what you do, and it makes sense, because we need all types of people. So we need people like you.
Yeah, that's true. We do need. I don't know me, but yeah, we do. Think of how boring it would be if we were all alike.
Right.
That would suck. Amy said that it's interesting that you say comfortable, and that she'll reflect on that.
Okay.
That you said that she is probably at a comfortable spot. So, yeah.
So interesting.
It is. Well, and I can tell you that I get my stubbornness from my father too. And I don't know if he would have been like that if he hadn't lost his sight or not. But hello, he was not going. You were not gonna. You couldn't tell him anything, and he did stuff that you would have never thought a blind person could do. Right. Because he was just so stubborn. He had a lathe, he had a full wood workshop in our basement. Wow. And all this stuff, and so I tell my husband, please don't tell me not to do something. because if you tell me not to do it, I have to do it. That's how the riding lawnmower ended up in our lake 19 years ago. And one day I'll tell y'all that story.
Like, I need to hear this.
Yes. And it was only because he told me not to use the riding lawnmower on the hill. I never would have. So y'all, anybody out there, don't tell me not to do something.
Okay, so I have a quick question. Did you end up in the lake with the lawnmower at some point? Oh, okay.
I didn't, but it's so funny. I'll give you a little bit of it. I decided I felt uncomfortable. I didn't feel safe. So I was coming back up. We have a really steep hill in the back going to the lake. So I was going to be really careful, and I backed up, and I was going to push it over and get it at the correct angle. This is the stupidest thing. But I didn't even think about it. I had it in neutral. So when I got off and touched it, it went flying down the hill. I'm chasing after it. Yeah, it was a brand new riding lawnmower. It went down the hill through all this brush, hit on the hood, the front of it in the lake, turned over on the side. Somehow I got in there and sat it up because I could just see gas and oil and everything coming out. Right. I don't know how I did it, but yeah. So don't tell me not to do something. It was really, God. Anyway.
Wow. I feel like that needs to be like a metaphor for something. I feel like that's like,
but it's just so bizarre because I would have never done it, except I'm like, wait a minute. See, I love to push mode. And I'm like, so I wouldn't even, that's what I use anyway. But I'm like, wait a minute. He told me not to use that. He uses all the time, and he can mow so fast. Anyway.
You should have did reverse psychology on you. You should be like, go out there and use that lawnmower.
I know, really, yeah. And the thing is, though, well, I don't even know what the thing is. We don't need to talk about me mowing the grass anymore anyway. But that it just goes to show that your own personality and the way that your mind thinks, that you have to figure out the positive ways to get yourself to do the things that are good for you, right?
Absolutely. So do you think that your way of being, how has that impacted you as a business owner?
In many ways, great, because I'm always looking for a different solution. But and so I'm really good at coming up with ideas that help clients magnify the results that they would get. For example, a few months ago, I helped a rural community take $900,000 of CARES Act money and turn it into over $2.7 million because we developed a matching gift card campaign. So in a case like that, I'm like, everybody else is doing the same thing. They're just all giving the money to a few businesses, and that's not fair because a few benefit and the others don't, and that doesn't help people in the community. And so, I started talking with a tourism director of this county. And by the way, she used to work with me. So we're really good friends. She actually had the original idea. And then I was able to help her take the idea and roll it out. So I'm really good at that because I'm like, no, I don't want to do what other people are doing. But it also will turn into like, I'll see a squirrel over here. And then, something maybe that I'm supposed to be doing, and all of a sudden I see a squirrel and I run off and I start doing it, So I don't know, maybe that's ADD, whatever. But it
works for you though,
It does.
Unless I get off track. It's like last weekend I was like, I have got to get more work done on my book. And I sat down and I was getting ready to write. And then I was like, I decided like out of the blue, oh no, I need this graphic for something for the book that I really truly do not need now. But I spent an hour doing that instead of writing the book, even though I wanted to write the book. So anyway, it's
storytelling too. I mean, I obviously deal with people's stories every day and helping them like uncover that. So it's a little bit of both of what you guys are talking about. I feel like it's, people that I work with a lot of people who have newly discovered their passion. So new businesses, new creatives, those kinds of things. So people that would probably benefit, from speaking to you and then really diving into this thing. I then kind of like get their stories and like help them craft that. But it's hard to be on and really focused on those things. And especially when you're trying to pull that story out of yourself, like Lisa, that's a hard thing to do and stay like discipline to do it. I just, the creative process is so interesting for everybody, and it's so different, of course, as you're figuring it out.
Yeah, everybody is different. And then though, when I start working on something though, I'm like a freight train. I'll work. I don't want to stop. I mean, I want to just sit up all night and work. Then once I stop, I get inertia and it's hard to get started again. It's so bizarre. It's like, why? Why can't you just stop like a normal person and take a break and then start back up?
Yeah, I'm not good at breaks. Like, I'm not good at breaks in general, right? So like, I have to make myself go on vacation. Like, Anita, you just got to get away. And I have to force myself not to take the computer nor the iPad with me, because if I take either of those, I will do work on vacation.
Yeah, I've owned my company, my web and marketing strategy company, since 1996.
Wow.
So even before we had wireless, I was dragging around a computer, plugging it into the wall. But of course that was a good thing then, because it meant that I could travel and go and do things that I couldn't do before. But no, I know what you mean. It's like, it really is. It makes it harder to get away. You do have to become more self-disciplined.
Yes.
Well, and thinking through this, like just the progression of what we're talking about too, you've worked with these people, but then are they kind of sent off and to explore these things, or how are you checking in with them? How is that relationship?
Yes. So it kind of depends on what package they purchase, right? Okay. So there are some where I work along with them. There are others who want to just kind of do their thing themselves and then kind of check back in, right? So one of the things that I want to launch is something I call Think Pods, but they're really mastermind groups. And so they're more of the accountability, right? So you're checking in and reporting what you've done, what you haven't done, but that doesn't work for everybody, right? So there are some people that work exceptionally well for, and others are like, that doesn't work for me. So it just kind of depends on the individual and the person. But at the end of the day, I think that when people can really get their mindset in a place of, I can do this, like this is what I'm created to do and I can do it, those are the people that tend to just kind of move through very, very quickly, versus the people that are kind of second guessing if they actually have what it takes to do whatever that thing may be. And those people tend to be the ones that will kind of come in for a little bit and do something, and then they'll go back out, and they'll come back and do something else, and then they'll go back and try something else. And so there's so much inconsistency there. So you got to, like, that mindset piece, like that's the first piece that you have to work on. And then once you get the mindset piece set, then you can pretty much accomplish anything you want.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's why I'm writing the book, Disrupt Your Now, because so many people, AC, people are like, one day I'll do this, someday, 5 years from now, when I retire. Well, we don't even know if we're going to be here tomorrow.
Right, absolutely.
Do it now. I'm not saying quit your job or shut down your business. Do at least some little thing that helps move you closer to what you think you want to do.
I agree.
But, so I think that's really cool that you help so many people do that.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's amazing I think that when I look back kind of over the years, like I've always been excited about helping people do something, right? Or accomplish something. And I grew up, like my parents, they wasn't rich, but they did okay, right? So we had we were kind of at the middle level, right? But they never told me that I couldn't do something. And so it's so funny. Like, I grew up believing that I could do anything that I wanted to do, and they rarely said no to me, but they also made it very clear that my ability to get what I want was directly linked to my behavior. And so I was an excellent kid, because I always wanted what I wanted. I was like, Like, even with my friends, I kept my friends out of trouble because they would want to do something. I'd be like, nah, my mother is not going to agree with that. We're not doing that. And I had the car. So if I said no, then it was no.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. And there were 3 girls in our family. And so we were kind of raised more like boys. And, Daddy just expected us to do everything. And there were certain things that he couldn't do. Just physically couldn't do. So it's like that whole thing about, why can't I do it? There really isn't anything that you can't do unless there really is a limitation, like height or weight. By the way, I played high school basketball too. I'm only 5'4.5", and I was a point guard.
Oh, that's all right. You had handles.
The only thing I was any good was I was an awesome free throw shooter and a great shooter from the corners.
That's awesome.
I was awesome at that. I sucked at everything else.
But you did what you needed to do, right?
Yeah,
in your area, right? So
Yeah.
you were in your lane. You wasn't trying to get into my lane, right? You
That's
stay in your lane. And I didn't try to get into your lane being a point guard either, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I love it. So that, and we talk about lanes, like everybody has a lane, right? What is your lane? What is the area that you're supposed to be operating in, right? That's your lane. That's the place that is where you need to be operating and functioning in.
And it's amazing too, starting my business last year and really feeling like I'm finally in alignment with my purpose and what that has done and how that has transformed, not only just like feeling purposeful and helping people, but also like monetarily seeing how that has really transformed my family's life too. Like those are big things as you get into like the nitty gritty pieces of it. You see the vision, you get into it, and then you realize, these, as you're living your truth or whatever you want to call it, living in alignment, living in your lane, these things just start coming to you because like the affirmations, you're speaking it into existence, you're doing the things that you want to do. I think that's a really powerful thing that, I don't know, sometimes I reflect back and I'm like, I don't know how this is happening, but this is amazing. Like
me too. And let's be clear, right? It's not all peaches and cream.
Right.
It's not like it's stressful.
No. Oh
right? I am gifted and talented to do what I do, but sometimes, oh my God, it is stressful. And sometimes things don't work out the way that I've planned them, and I may have to take a different route to get to the final destination. It's not all perfect, right? But there is a level of peace that you just can't explain about it. Yes. There is this happiness, this fulfillment that you get even inside of being stressed. There's still this fulfillment that you get inside of doing whatever that thing may be.
That's so important. I love that you said that. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yes. And I love what you said earlier about mindset when you said if you get up, you feel like you're on the wrong side of the bed, you're just lay down and get back on
the other side. Yes. It's a choice. We all have a choice to make. Like, it's so interesting, right? So I'll think about, like, if you think about when you are you two ladies married?
Yeah.
Yes.
So when you get into an argument.
Years.
Wow.
Wow.
But I got married when I was 5. No.
I love it. But let's just say when you get into argument with your husband, right? So independent of what the argument's about, you have a choice that you can make, right? And you can choose, right? So you can decide to be mad and not talk to him for weeks, or you can make the opposite decision and be like, okay, we're going to agree to disagree on whatever this is, and we're going to keep it moving. Or maybe we'll come back and talk about it at a later date. Either way, there's a choice that you have to make or that you choose to make, whether you make that choice intentionally or not. There's a choice that you have to make. And in every instance, like, we can choose something else. Now, there are some times when I'm mad at somebody, I intentionally choose to be mad at that person. And I may put them in a penalty box for a little while, right? But it's a choice that I'm making, right? Because I don't have to do that. That's the choice that I'm making. And I'm very clear that I'm making that choice for whatever reason. I'm making that choice.
Yeah. You're not just living life by default.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
Amy called it when you were talking earlier about when you're in your lane and you know what you're doing, that even when you have the days that are bad, Amy called it being joyously exhausted.
Yes. I love that. I'm going to write that down. Good job, Amy.
Yeah. And Kimberly just says she loves your energy. Kimberly, this is why I asked her on the show, because I saw her in Tab's Refiners Conference. I'm like, man, I could have listened to you talk forever that night.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, I have enjoyed so much having you on here. I know Rachel and I could talk to you all night.
I know. It feels like we're just like hanging out. This is great.
I love it. But I was laughing to myself earlier when you said, if you're mad at somebody, you can choose not to talk to them. And my husband would probably be like, I wish she would choose not to talk to me. Because at least they ain't never going to choose not to talk.
So that's not an option for you?
That's going to be like, okay.
I love
Poor thing. Yeah, we've been married 34 years. And I'm going to say because there's so many people, men and women, who are ashamed of their age. I'm going to be 60 years old May 10th.
Woo!
Yeah. And I'm not ashamed of it, because I'm like, you know what? Hello. It took 60 years to learn everything I've learned. So
Yeah.
I'm glad there's not 1 year that I would want to give back, you know?
Right. Yeah. I say all the time, like, I wish I knew back then, like, what I know now. Like, oh my God, you know what I can do with that?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I get that.
The only
But
thing
I don't think I had the maturity back then to handle what I know now.
Yeah, I was going to say, the only thing is we were younger and more whatever, so we would have still probably not done it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I
Well,
love it.
AC, you have a freebie for our guests, right?
I do. So I talked a little bit about the template. So for those that are realtors or entrepreneurs or small nonprofits or churches who can't afford to hire great graphic designers, I've created these templates, and they're low-cost templates. They're stunning. They're fully customizable for those individuals and businesses that have little to no marketing budgets, but you still want your stuff to look good, right? I think appearance matters, and these templates are great for that. So I have a test drive, so you could test drive one of the templates if you head on over to begreattemplates.com and scroll down to the bottom. You can take the test drive with the one-pager template that we have.
Oh, cool. I love that. And I think that's such a great idea to do, to even have those templates like that. And there are templates out there that are available, but they're out there, everybody's using the same thing.
Yeah.
They're all in the same store and all that. So I appreciate that you're doing that for small businesses, and we'll add that to the show notes too.
I love it. Well, thank you ladies so much for bringing me on. This has been absolutely great.
I've had a ball. Rachel, did you have anything else you wanted to ask or say before we go?
No, I was just going to say, I'm going to go check out your template. I might have to pick your brain later. I've got some ideas of things, and I might pick your brain, but
it's all right. Well, Rachel, what is it that you do again? What's your business?
Yeah, so gosh, we didn't even get into that. So I help people really storytell through copywriting, copy editing, content strategy. So really helping people refine their stories. I work a lot with creatives and small businesses to really nail down what that story is and how to put that out in the world in the best way possible. So
cool. I love it. I love it. Yeah, we may need to talk. I may have some clients to refer to you, because I'm not good at the messaging part, right? That isn't my lane, but I can do the other stuff.
I get it.
That's awesome.
Okay, everybody. I'm trying to remember who my guest is Thursday. I don't want to say the wrong person. Hold on. Let me look, because I want to tell y'all who it is. I'm so sorry.
I know you do Tuesdays and Thursdays. You got everybody.
Yeah, I'm not going to even say, because I don't want to drag it out, and I'm afraid that I'll say the wrong name. So just come back Thursday and you'll find out. Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, for the Adaptable Entrepreneur Show. AC, thank you so much for coming tonight. We've had a blast talking with you. And so I know we're going to need to do some more stuff in the future together too.
Yes, I'm down. Let's do it.
Thanks, everybody. Talk to you later. See you Thursday. Bye.
Bye.